So we just got back from seeing the best Indiana Jones film ever made.
It literally was the best. In order, they go this film, Dial of Destiny, followed by Crystal Skull.
Of course.
The original three are just, they're all at the bottom.
It's just so patriarchal and dated.
Yes. I felt extremely empowered watching Dial of Destiny.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is such an inspiration.
She's an inspiration in this film. She's perfect. She's wonderful. Flawless in every way. And it's a shame that she has to deal with that decrepit old man the whole film. I don't even know why he's there.
Definitely one step forward for the matriarchy. Down with the patriarchy.
100%.
So welcome to our review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
The day has arrived.
Our trailer reaction video, our predictions were pretty much spot on.
Mostly true.
It's true, all of it.
It was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
We have now witnessed the full cucking of
Indiana Jones has been fully cucked. It's official. Whether he goes back in time and dies there or not, it's irrelevant. His character is just pointless. It's just sad to watch this character basically just do nothing for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Just be a sad old man way past his prime.
I know that all these legacy sequels that they've been doing, these nostalgia bait sequels, that's kind of like the MO of those things now, is to take your heroes from your childhood or whatever and like just completely cuck them. But this movie honestly took it to another level.
Yes.
He was just a sad sack of shit the whole movie.
He was a sidekick in his own movie.
It was depressing watching him.
This movie, it was boring to the point where you just feel sad, like, oh, why are they making this old man do this? This poor old man.
Yeah, it was like...
They dragged him out of his home.
It's the cinematic equivalent of rolling Joe Biden out. That's seriously what it felt like. I just felt bad for him.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then
like right off camera, they got a thing of ice cream waiting for him.
Exactly. But it wasn't even, I mean, well, just a little side tangent real quick. It's not just him. Like when they dusted Sala off, they brought him back, and it felt the same.
That moment when they're at the airport, and he's like, I brought my passport. My heart broke for a moment. Yeah. Because I was like, oh. Yeah, this poor man, like he wants to go on an adventure with him, these two old guys, and I brought my passport. I was like, oh, I wanted to like reach in and give him a little hug.
Well, for a second there, I thought, you know what, maybe he should go. That would actually make it a little bit better.
That would have been cool. I would have enjoyed watching the two of them banter a little more than him just being cucked by Helena the entire movie.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about her.
We'll be getting into her, but let's discuss the plot a little bit.
The opening of the movie, I have my own thoughts about that, but
we disagree on this part, and we'll get to that though.
As soon as that part ends, and it's like the first act of Indiana Jones in the 60s.
Okay, we're back,
Holy shit, the story took so long to get going, and it was so boring.
Yes. It focuses on this artifact, the Dial of Destiny, and this is your MacGuffin for the whole film.
Yes.
So his goddaughter, who you learn is the daughter of his friend from the past sequence in the opening of the film. She's after it for her own reasons. He's got it locked up at the school he works at, and then the Nazi from the opening sequence who understands its power, he's after it. So everybody's after this thing, and Indiana Jones kind of just gets caught up in it, and he's kind of just gets pulled along for the ride. Just the old man, come on, Grandpa, let's go. We need you for the adventure, but not really. Did they really need him there?
Indiana Jones is a sidekick in his own film. He's short round in his own film.
He's short round in his own film.
And he turns into Willie Scott in his own film. He's the damsel in distress.
Yeah, he needs to be rescued.
At the end of the film, like where the hero would save the girl or whatever, driving the motorcycle as the plane is taking off, it's her doing it.
Yes, she's doing all the cool stuff because he can't, because he's an old man. So they're all chasing after this Dial of Destiny, and the big bad, Mads. I love me some Mads Mikkelsen, but he's just so flat in this. You're as good as the script you're working with, and it's...
He brought what he could bring to it, man.
He brought what he could.
He was doing his Mads Mikkelsen idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, it was like, I got a little hint of Le Chiffre.
Kind of, yeah.
So he's trying to get this Dial of Destiny because he thinks he can go back in time and take the place of Hitler and do all the things that Hitler did wrong, do them right, so Germany can win the war.
Yeah, he wants to be an uber-Nazi, basically.
He wants to be an uber-Nazi. He wants to be Hitler 2.0. Helena just wants to sell the damn thing on the black market.
It's called capitalism.
Her motives are so pathetic.
All over the place.
They're all over the place.
It's worse than Spider from Avatar. I honestly did not know where she was coming from, but it's weird because she's like kind of a scumbag, but the film wants you to find that endearing about her, but it's not.
The biggest trouble with her is the noise.
Right.
She sucks.
Because she comes off as a scumbag, then she comes off as a know-it-all, then she comes off as like she's charming, or she's the femme fatale. Like she's like trying to wear all these hats, but she doesn't wear any of them well.
No, zero.
And she starts off coming to Indy like, oh, my dad was working on this, so I'm just trying to continue his legacy. I can find the other half of this dial. We can continue his work that he was so passionate about, that drove him mad. It's got a crazy power behind it. And then all of a sudden, when she finally gets the damn thing, she just wants to hawk it for money.
She wants to sell it. That's capitalism.
That's capitalism.
Capitalism.
While she's doing that, Indiana Jones is like, well, I can't just let her do that. I can't just let her do that. You know, so he goes and stops her.
Well, he stops her like an old geriatric man in the background would stop her.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't,
yeah. But then she decides like, well, no, we can go get the other half, and then we can actually fulfill my father's destiny. But then, well, maybe I could just sell it. It's like, well, what are you doing? What is your character? She was the worst.
Absolutely worst. She was worse than I thought she was going to be.
And then at every turn, she knows more than him. She's smarter than him. She's wittier than him. Anytime the two of them where it's like, it could be this or could be that, she's always right when they figure it out. It's just all around perfect. Just better. The modern woman.
Nobody's gonna believe it.
And it just made him look like a fool the whole time. And that's the whole plot. And they get this dial. They actually get the pieces. They put this thing together, and of course Mads shows up and he explains like, no, this is what it can do. And then he explains his master plan in a very boring way. And then they legit go back in time.
Yeah, which I'm kind of hazy on how it technically worked. It opened up a portal somehow.
No, it didn't open up a portal. No, you basically put in like a time, and then the dial would point you to where a temporal anomaly would be happening.
So these temporal anomalies
are happening. They're just happening up in the sky randomly that no one's ever noticed. And then it directs you to it, and then they flew through it.
Holy shit, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it didn't actually do anything.
Yeah.
The dial, it was a prediction dial. It was supposed to predict like certain events, moon and solar stuff. But then, because the thing was so unique, it detected like temporal anomalies. And that's what they used to fly to that portal in the sky. And then they go back in time, and you're like, oh shit, this sequence is kind of interesting. They're like doing something, okay, and then it just goes off the rails. And then they're in the middle of a Roman battle, and it's just cheesy as fuck.
So the original rumors, the leaks that came out, they indicated that it was going to be a time travel movie, and
more so than we got.
More so than we got. The leaks, they said something along the lines of they go back, Indiana Jones ends up dying, and then she kind of carries out all of his adventures.
Yeah, something like that.
So you'd see events from Raiders, you'd see events from Temple of Doom, whatever.
Right. And apparently that didn't go over too well.
Yeah, well, so like it's kind of like what all these movies are doing. It's like the Back to the Future 2 stuff. Endgame did it, The Flash kind of did it. Like all these movies are kind of doing that right now. Yeah. So this is the newest one to just jump on that kind of multiverse bandwagon, you know, but just Indiana Jones style.
Out of ideas, do time travel.
Exactly. Yeah. But it didn't go that direction.
No.
And you just got this sense that the studio got the notes about about how bad the leak reception was, and so they did the reshoots, and it feels like fucking reshoots.
Dude, like there's points in that movie where they're like, shit, cut that out, splice this together.
Yes, let's do a little scene to patch that up.
Yeah. Especially in the third act.
Yes.
That whole third act felt so out of place.
Yeah.
And then the way they tie it up, they were like, shit, we need an ending. Get Marion back in here. We'll bring Sala back in for a minute. We'll have a little reunion, and then it just ends.
Well, I mean, you also have to have the scene at the end where she punches him. She knocks out Indiana Jones, of course.
Oh yeah, she just decks him, knocks him out, and that's
and he
a good
wakes
way
up
for him to
and
go out.
he has to comment on how strong her punch was, basically.
Oh man, you punch like a man.
Yeah, like oh no, more than my jaw.
Oh my jaw. You're okay. Yeah, my jaw's not okay. Right, because you're 90 or whatever the hell you are in this movie. It's ridiculous. ridiculous. And he was old in Crystal Skull, and people were like ripping on that back then.
He was old for this adventure, but he could still kind of
throw a
spry in that one. This one, it's just, he's got the shoulders, and he's just like...
Yeah. So yeah, that's the plot. But let's take it back to the beginning, because I want to talk about some of this stuff. Specifically in the opening, the biggest problem for me was how stupid his CGI just looked, and he sounded like a 90-year-old man.
Yeah, so you have this
in
like
a 40-year-old's
this
body.
like shitty deep fake going on, and then it's Harrison Ford in his 40s.
Yeah.
But an 89-year-old's voice is coming out of him.
Yeah.
So
and you could hear that.
That's what I'm saying.
It was the same thing in what they did with Tron Legacy. Like you could tell it was Jeff Bridges' voice was old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you can obviously do that visually. You can manipulate voices through AI. Just do that.
Yeah, I don't know
what
why
I mean.
they didn't do
Just
it.
do that. Like as soon as they ADR'd that and they sync the picture with the audio, there's no way that they thought that sounded okay.
He just sounds like old and tired.
Yeah.
And then his face, it's expressionless at times. Like he's in the middle of this Nazi den, and like you just see his face, and he's like
even people that did not like the film, a lot of them praise kind of the opening scene, saying that it wasn't that bad.
I actually like the opening scene.
I fucking hated it. But I think that one of the reasons why I did not like it is kind of what you're explaining right now, where his face is just so emotionless.
Yes.
It's hard to connect with him the way you connected with him in like Raiders or Temple of Doom.
Like the opening of one of those movies where you see the expression and the life in his eyes.
There's none of that.
None of that.
Yeah.
And that's missing. What I liked about the opening was, we're back in whatever it was, 1945. And, it's just a fun action piece with the train and the,
But it looks, it's all shit though. It looks fake.
I know. But this was back when he was still kicking ass. Even if he's a fake version of himself, this was before he's officially cucked. Because the only time we get him in the movie where he's not cucked.
But it comes down to like, yes, the concept, sure, great.
Yeah.
But the execution sucked.
Yes. However, I did think this movie looked a lot better than the last outing.
Oh yeah, Crystal Skull is one of the ugliest Spielberg movies ever made.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And this has been a big thing for me, especially with this series, making a movie about this legacy character with an IP that lives in the 80s.
Yeah.
Every effort should have been made to make this film look as much as they could like those movies.
They should have emulated Douglas Slocum's DP work.
Absolutely.
In those.
100%.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have cameras flying around, which they did less of it in this movie than I thought they were going to do, like cameras just ridiculously defying physics, like grounded camera work.
Yeah.
And a lighting and color palette that resembled the original films.
Yeah. And
it would have gone such a long way.
Yeah, and it's weird because James Mangold is kind of a classy director. Like his movies look really good usually.
They do.
And so when he was announced that he was directing, it's disappointing that Spielberg's not coming back. But B, it's like
he's way past his.
Yeah, but it's like,
days.
Okay, if it's going to be in someone else's hands, then James Mangold definitely knows how to make things look elegant.
Yeah.
If you watch Ford v Ferrari, very good looking movie.
Logan's a good looking movie.
Logan's a very good looking movie. This did not have that. There were some moments and there were some shots like where the not actiony stuff, just like little moments with Indiana Jones in the environment that looked okay.
Yeah.
It's not washed out the way Crystal Skull was washed out.
Crystal Skull's a terrible looking film.
Yes. So in terms of visual style, this movie looks better when there's actually real things on camera.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is shot on a stage, and the green screen sucks.
Like, why does it look so bad?
You know what I was kind of thinking when we were watching it? I was kind of thinking of the Die Hard movies. You have the first 3 Die Hards. You can say what you want about Die Hard 2, because a lot of people don't really like that one, but it at least
it's not
feels like a Die Hard movie.
Yeah,
it's shot like a Die Hard movie. It looks like a Die Hard movie.
It hits like a Die Hard movie.
And then you watch Die Hard 4, and then it just looks like a generic action movie.
Yep.
It lost that Die Hard edge.
There's no personality to it
No
anymore.
personality. That's what happened with Indiana Jones.
Because it was so much later it came out.
Yes, exactly.
That you lose it because things change so much, especially like if you look at just decades of films.
Yes.
Right? Like the 70s have a look, the 60s have a look, because different film stocks, different cameras, different lenses, you know. Things are rooted in the time they were made. So you're going to do a film like, Crystal Skull was what? 25 years later or something, at least. I don't remember when it came out, but it just looks so different, and that sucks.
So obviously, like what you're saying, filmmaking, technology,
they change
style,
over time.
it changes over time. It absolutely does. But whenever you take on an IP like this, you do have to respect kind of the visual vocabulary that came from earlier,
right?
And you kind of want to play around in that world that they established.
Yeah.
You can use like newer things, newer techniques, but you should still as a filmmaker, you should be trying to work in those parameters, I think.
Yeah.
So you could have like used the same lens package that they use. Like,
right, you don't
original
have to shoot on the same film stock, but just to try and emulate
you can shoot it digitally still, but just try to make it look the way it used to look.
Those movies are lit a certain way.
Yeah.
They have, like, you know, like when he walks in Raiders in the beginning, it's just a slash of light across his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like things, little things like that.
And going back to Die Hard, like if you watch Die Hard 4, it almost makes McClane not really feel like McClane that as much anymore, because he's not in that world that he was in the first two movies.
Right, now it's in this generic, polished world of just boring action movies.
And he just kind of comes across as a generic action hero. And like, I know we probably sound like, oh, you guys are just stuck in the past, whatever, but it's not that.
We're just stuck in a period of good films.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like, we briefly talked about this, how Maverick, when that came out, that was a case of, yes, it's going to look a lot different than the original film from the 80s. However, they did it justice in terms of storytelling by taking a character and bringing him into today and not making him a sad sack of shit.
Correct, yeah. Top Gun does legacy sequel perfectly.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because Tom Cruise's ego got in the way, and he's just like, I'm not going to be a sad sack piece of shit. And there's no way. I'm not going to let these kids show me up.
Nope.
Not today. No way, no.
He takes charge and he crushes it.
Yes, because
that's the character.
He's the character, and he's got the age and the experience.
Yes.
So yeah, he would be better than them.
Right. But the film, yes, it does look different. It's updated with modern technology and all that, and that's okay because, I mean, yes.
Well, I mean,
that's a single film that came out.
Yes, but that being said, though, like in the original Top Gun, they did kind of push the envelope in terms of like camera mounting systems, jets, and like all of that stuff.
Yeah, and they did that for this
too.
They
did that for the new one, exactly.
Yeah.
So they just in a more advanced way because they could now. Cameras are smaller, lighter, so you can put you can mount them places.
They can do.
Yeah, so it kind of is an extension of that same spirit of filmmaking from the original.
Exactly, which this
does not have.
Does not have. Instead, they take their main character and they just shit all over him.
This is a deconstruction. This is a
yes.
Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi is a pathetic sad sack of shit. This is basically the Last Jedi of Indiana Jones. This is worse. This was seriously fucking depressing. Last Jedi was it angered me. I was so annoyed watching that movie. Yeah. This was just sad.
This didn't make me feel anything. We were bored. This movie just had no energy. Low T.
It's low T. This is low T Indiana Jones.
We're watching this. We're like 45 minutes in. I'm like, God, I'm tired. I feel like him right now.
Yeah, I need a nap like him.
I feel like I need a nap.
Yeah.
I think Matlock's on. Like nothing gripped me.
The entire time he's just like...
The stakes didn't feel there.
It just felt like he was like, what time is it? Murder, She Wrote comes on in 15 minutes. I have to be home for that. It's so depressing when the movie started. It starts with the Disney logo.
Instead of the...
yeah, and then it shows the Paramount logo real quick.
Doesn't
do the dissolve.
Into anything.
Yes. Now, in Crystal Skull, that was a total piece of shit when it dissolves into the CG mound of
and
dirt, and the
fake gopher
CG comes out. Yeah, it doesn't even attempt to do that.
Yeah.
It's depressing. It was like the end of an era when you see that. And
even the villains, their deaths were just boring and depressing. The super jacked giant Nazi dude. Yeah. You're like, oh, this guy, I don't know who, he's not fighting Indiana Jones. He's not fighting Helena. I don't know how they're going to take this guy out. He falls off a little bridge into a water with the kid handcuffed to him, and then the kid just handcuffs him underwater, and he's like, and that's it, and you never see him again. You don't even see him drown.
Yeah,
and he's just gone, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, that guy was huge. That guy should have had like a crazy end.
Yeah, even like in Crystal Skull, that
lame, thing,
that lame like, big Russian guy. He died with. I thought that was lame, but at least he got like a proper.
Yes, he got a
villain death.
Yes, he got a proper like. You see when they're all crawling into his mouth, like, and he knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, he got what he deserved.
The dude in Raiders with the propeller.
Yes,
there's
and
just
that
like
guy's
that
not even
payoff.
in the whole. He's in one scene.
Exactly, but there's that payoff. Well, even like the sidekicks, the evil sidekicks or whatever, get their faces melted off. Like it's so memorable.
They get cool deaths.
Yes,
and then Mads and Boyd Holbrook, they just go down in that plane and they're just like standing next to each other, watching the ground come up. They're just like, oh. They look like they're gonna pee themselves, and then they just crash, and that's it.
I swear, I thought they were gonna like kiss for a second. They were like,
that would have been ridiculous. They just turned, they're like, oh, and then they crash. Yeah, the Nazis are just closeted homosexuals.
I would have laughed and woken up a little bit.
Yeah, right? I would have laughed once in that movie. None of the humor was there.
No, okay, to be fair, I laughed one time, and that's when he was climbing up the wall, and he mentioned,
he made the Kali.
He made the Kali, like, he referenced Temple of Doom, and so that was like a nerd callback. And so
of course.
I laughed at that, but it was more like a...
like I remember that, because that was a good movie.
Chuckle.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember that moment from that good movie?
Yeah, then I started thinking about Temple of Doom and how I just loved his... I'd rather be watching that right now.
This, like, nobody wants to see this beloved character. When you watch him in the old movies, you're like, this guy, he's great. Like, you want to be him. Now, you don't want to be him.
No.
You don't want to be him at all. He lives a very sad existence.
You know what else was pretty sad and low T about the film? I hate saying it, I really do, but John Williams' music. Like, there were some decent beats in there where I'm like, oh man, it's cool to hear Williams again.
A couple of throwbacks.
Yes.
You had your little Raiders moment.
But honestly though, okay, so a few things about the score, all right? First of all, there was like some weird usage, some recycling of Minority Report in there, which is...
Yeah, you picked that up. I didn't.
It was kind of bizarre. It was so annoying. Whenever they would show like a close-up of the hat and the whip, you'd hear like a little bit of a little leitmotif there. And it's like, dude, stop.
Well, okay, was there anything about the film that you liked?
Okay, I'm talking shit about John Williams right now, and he's John Williams. He's the master. He's great.
I mean, every time he does a film at this point, I'm like, aren't you retired?
Yeah, he comes out of... They dust him off, just like they dusted Harrison Ford off, just like they dusted Salah off.
They dusted him off for Star Wars.
Yes.
They just...
Yes, and so it's cool that we got... This is probably his last score for...
Sure, they said that about the last 8 movies he did.
I mean, this could be legitimately his last score. You know what I mean? I mean,
not that I want him to stop.
It sucks that he goes out doing this.
Yeah.
But it is nice hearing it again. It's nice hearing his style again. It's great, you know, like nothing was like John Williams. He's amazing. But yeah, it's like, dude, much like Harrison Ford, it's time to put the hat up. You're done.
Hang it up.
Yeah.
Make a new character. As hard as that is, put your creativity cap on, get to work. You're fucking Disney. Figure it out. How absent of ideas are they? Where they gotta dust off a character. I'm not even counting Crystal Skull, because that wasn't Disney. Who hasn't had an outing since, when did Last Crusade come out? 89?
Yeah.
Okay. It's done.
Indiana Jones ended when they all rode off into the sunset at the end of Last Crusade. That's the ending.
And then they tried to do it again with Crystal Skull, where he gets married to Marion, and she was never like the girl. She was in one movie.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is like Bond movies. Like he's nailing a new chick every movie.
Yeah, right. Marion's nowhere to be found in the 3rd movie.
Yeah,
or the 2nd.
Doesn't even mention her in those ones.
No,
even
I don't
in
dislike Marion. But
even when she's great, but when she comes back in this one, it's depressing.
It is. It's really sad.
Yes. Whereas in Crystal Skull, she was just smiling, like she was happy to be working.
Just happy to be working.
Yeah.
This time she shows up with some groceries and she's like,
oh, you're back.
Are you back?
What does that mean?
Are you back? Did he go somewhere? Oh no, his spirit left, because now this was the scene I actually liked the most in the film.
Oh yeah, they explain away why Shia LaBeouf is not in the movie.
Why his son is not in the film. Oh, she's asking him like, what would you change if you could go back in time? He's like, I'd tell my son not to go off to war, because he'd die or whatever. And then he tells this little quick tale about the things he would tell his son about how it would break his mother's heart and it would separate them. And it was the most emotion that Ford brought to the character in the entire film.
In that scene, you saw his emotional backbone for the entire film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see why he's broken.
It's good, but again, it still just added to how depressing the movie was.
Yes, it just makes it more depressing.
And I hated,
like it wasn't depressing enough. Now you know why he's such a sad sack, and it's like, damn.
I hated Shia LaBeouf in Crystal Skull. I hated him. Like he seriously sucks in that movie. But like I felt bad. It's like, man, this is like what they ended up doing. Like people did not like him so much. Like they didn't ask him to come back. They killed him. Like he went after Nam and died in Nam. That's so depressing.
Yeah, it's super depressing. But it's the one moment in the film where I actually was engaged with Indiana Jones.
You felt like a connection to Indiana Jones.
You felt a connection with him. And then a few minutes later, Antonio Banderas just gets offed.
What a waste!
What a waste. He gets offed, and then they're like making their escape in a speedboat, and she's like, haha, we got away. And he's like, my freaking friend just died, you bitch. Like,
yeah, and she's just like,
and she's like,
sorry.
Sorry, oh, sorry. And then they're just speeding away.
That stupid English voice, was that me?
And that's when we get Mads with the
binocular.
Okay.
The map
You know the map
sequence.
things in all the Indiana Jones movies when they're
Yeah.
traveling, they do that in this, but it looks like shit. They use that as a device to give exposition.
Yeah.
They're showing the map thing, and then like a little mask dissolve in the corner of Mads Mikkelsen holding up his binoculars, going, "They're not going east, they're going west."
They're going west,
Oh,
which
wow.
means they must be going to this exact location. It's like
Well, it's like-
you're in a boat that just got
it's
blown
so-
up with a piece of TNT.
It's
You're not
so
chasing them.
fucking lazy. And like they think that they've got like, oh, they don't know where we're going. And yeah, they're right behind us, idiots. They're
Yeah.
just following us.
They're just following us in
moron.
another boat. Well, we'll just follow their boat. They're going west. That was so dumb.
I'm gonna rate this movie. I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna give this movie a 3.5.
You read my mind. 3.5.
So you
where I
liked it
was
less
at.
than The Flash as well.
Yes, because I was more entertained watching The Flash. Yes, things were happening. You're bouncing around to different locations, but it was just boring.
Yeah, I cannot stress
It was
to you guys
tired.
how low energy
It's
this movie
so low
is.
energy, and it all leads to this very boring climax. Like, okay, now they're in the middle of this Roman battle, and even that was like not exciting. And these Romans are like, instead of like stopping and looking up, like, oh my God, what are these flying contraptions in the sky? They're like,
They're
"Oh, look,
dragons."
they brought dragons with them, and it's like,
Even if they were dragons, everyone would have stopped in their
like,
tracks
"Oh my
during that
God,"
battle
yeah.
and been like,
And then he's wounded, and he's like, just leave me here. Just let me die here. And she's like,
so depressing.
they just drag that on. It's like your life is so depressing that you just want to be left in the past so you can fulfill some wish of wanting to be part of history. And Helena takes that away from him, his final wish, brings him back, and then somehow just makes a quick phone call, and Marion just comes back. Well, look at how perfect you are. Nothing you do is ever wrong. Helena Shaw and the Cucking of Indiana Jones would have been a more apt title. Now, on the woke side, I mean, okay, let's put Miss Perfect aside,
Okay, well,
right? Put Miss Perfect aside for a second, and what other little things were in there?
the CIA chick.
She was worthless.
Oh, the character was totally worthless, but
don't
it
even
was
know why she
annoying
was in
because
there.
it's like she's total diversity hire.
The black CIA
I'm
chick.
sorry, but like, look, character aside, this is the 1960s. I'm sorry, but a black woman would not have been that high up in the CIA back then.
Right.
I'm sorry, no.
Like you're in the middle of the civil rights era.
Yeah, should they have been? Absolutely, okay,
Yeah.
but she would not have been though.
Right. That was a
That's
little-
just the way history
And then,
is.
like,
I'm sorry.
they put her in there and they make you think, like, okay, she's going to serve a bigger purpose.
No.
Because they're trying to give her a
Yeah.
moral compass. And then she just gets, like, taken out and you're like, what was her point?
And I didn't fully understand her allegiance to Mad Mikkelsen's character.
Right.
It was
her
very
allegiance
strange.
was like, she was assigned to him, I think, because the CIA was helping him do what he wanted to do because he helped the Americans get to the moon. You know, the whole Operation Paperclip thing where we
Yeah.
took the Nazi scientists.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be one of those Nazi scientists. So now we're treating him like he's a god, just giving him whatever he wants. And that, I guess, is personal access to the CIA to go around and just do whatever the hell you want. And then his henchmen just start killing people, and she's just like, well, I guess it's okay. Like, what the fuck was that?
in terms of wokeness, though, that was like a little annoying. They had to
Yeah.
have the diversity stuff
Right.
in the movie.
And when Freddy's sitting on the steps in Sicily, and those kids come over,
Those
they're
overly
like,
white Italian kids.
look at that brown kid with the straw hat. Like, he didn't look that out of place for being in Sicily, actually.
No, he did not.
And
But they had to
these
have those
white
assholes.
tourists come over
Yeah.
and they just start laughing at him, and it's like, why did they single him out?
That being said, though, I'm sorry, you can't really take her character out of the equation. And
No, I'm not saying take her out.
No,
I'm just saying,
I know, but I'm just saying though, like she definitely makes the rainbow score.
oh yeah, she ticks it up quite a bit.
Yes, quite a bit.
But you know, outside of her, a couple little things here and there. You know, the extreme cucking of your main character.
This just goes to what we were saying when we did the Flash review about how just every male character now in movies are just these pathetic, low-T, soy-infused.
Yeah. And Indiana Jones, I mean, he's low-T because he's literally low-T.
Yeah, he's not soy. He's just depressing.
He's depressed and he's just old.
It's just another deconstruction of a
legacy character.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's another
that we don't need to see.
Yes.
And it's at their own expense. You're bringing people in for another trip down memory lane with a legacy character, and then you shit all over that legacy character.
It's another Kathleen Kennedy cucking. Rainbow scale.
Rainbow scale. I'm gonna go 4.
Same.
Yeah.
I was gonna say 4. Because without Phoebe Waller-Bridge, if they toned her down a bit,
she's like a solid 2.5 rainbows just herself.
If that. Yeah, if that.
And Indy himself is 1 just for what they did to him, and then all the other little shit.
It's definitely a modern movie in terms of how they just shove weird agendas in there.
Yeah.
Fuck this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. This movie was fucking dog shit. All right. Till next time.